Hello and welcome to the Camera Lab introductory and tutorial video. This is going to be a relatively quick walkthrough on the asset, as it's very easy to use. But basically it comes with 7 awesome camera systems such as third person, top down, RTS, side scrolling, 2.5D path camera, fixed or security cameras, and a retro camera system which is like the old school Resident Evil. It also comes with a effect system such as camera shakes with presets, fades, zooms, tilts, and tints. And in tradition of all my other lab asset packs out there, it comes with wizards to set everything up for you. So very little to no work on your end. So when you install it from the Unity Asset Store, you're greeted by the welcome window here. Simply click Get Started, and you will see the Camera Lab user manual. This has absolutely everything you need, such as a quick start guide, which will take you through the process of building or setting stuff up, as well as the different types of camera systems you have, as well as a public API, as well as other code examples. And one thing I do want to point out is the camera relative movement helper, which is perfect for fixing the issue that all Resident Evil, well, the old Resident Evil games had, where you walked into a room holding the forward key, and then as soon as it transitioned to the other room, you flipped around and you walked right back out, which annoyed the hell out of me because I would enter and exit rooms continuously, where this allows you to enter a room walking forward, and you'll keep walking in that direction until you release the movement keys. So it fixes that issue that I hated in the old RE games. But that is there. It's a simple component that you drag and drop onto your system, and that is it. It is easy as 1, 2, 3. So make sure you please go through this and read all of this, as it covers absolutely everything. It took me a long time to compile all this information, but it's right here for you. So let's take a look quickly at the cameras themselves. I'm going to enter play mode here. And go full screen. Oops, wrong one. Go full screen. So the 2.5D is a spline type camera where you can allow for dolly movements, crane movements, and tracking. It also comes with occlusion culling too, or occlusion. So for example, since I'm blocked here by this pillar, if I had it enabled, the camera would go either to the left or right side of the pillar, so the player is always in view. But for the purpose of this tutorial or this video, I disabled it. So as you can see here, the camera follows and gives a very cinematic feel to your game. This is great for 2.5D games and so on and so forth. The second one is the 2D side scrolling with a nice little cushion effect. All of these are configurable, and there's so many settings on all of these components for all these different cameras that you can literally get any feel that you want with ease. The third one here is the third-person controller. This has a really nice cinematic cushion when you go up, down, left, right. It also has occlusion to prevent you from clipping through walls. It has target lock on, all the stuff that you would expect from a third-person camera. This is not a controller. This is a camera system to use with your pre-existing third-person controller. But yeah, it has all of this stuff, and you can tighten this up. If you sprint in one direction and the camera changes view, the character will start walking in that direction. This, of course, you can disable, enable, whatever you want. This is fully configurable. The fourth one is the top-down or dome camera. So with the scroll wheel on your mouse, you can zoom in and out. You can set the clamp heights however you want, and so much more. Number 5 is the fixed camera or security camera. Not much to say about this one. 6 is the Resident Evil style camera system, where you can walk around the room and it follows you. You have really cool transitions between rooms. You can have blink, which is what this one is, smooth, and also instant, which has no effects. So yeah. And then the last camera is the RTS camera. So if I enter mouse mode, if I right click and move the mouse, I rotate. If I middle mouse click, I can pan. If I left mouse click, I can zoom. Also, I can move the mouse to the edges of the screen, and the screen will scroll. Or I could use the arrow keys on the keyboard as well to pan around the scene. So that's literally it. So let's take a quick look at a couple of these here, a couple of the more complex ones. So the retro example here is very easy to set up, but I'm going to show you because if you use the wizard, it will create all of this for you. So let's take a quick look at the wizard because this is what the end result will be, minus the walls, of course. You'll have to add those yourself. But if you go up to Tools, the Camera Lab, and you go to Create Camera System, up pops the wizard. It tells you exactly step by step what everything does. But here it says the camera type, 2.5D, tells you what it is, and has all these cameras on it. You can choose which one. It'll tell you exactly what it does, what type of control it is. Is it access-based? Is it fixed? Blah, blah, blah. And then once you figure it out that you want, you simply click Create, or you can have quick access by simply clicking a button here. It's totally up to you. And then, of course, you create the test character, and it will create and add all of the components and stuff that you need, and auto-assign the player, and it'll auto-detect the player, and all that kinds of good stuff at runtime. But since I've already got this in the scene, let's take a quick look at the retro sample. So here we have camera zones and fixed camera. So camera zone 1 literally is a box trigger with a retro camera zone component on it. And then you drop in your camera. So in this case, it's zone 1, camera 1. So you can see the cameras here. And this is the zone, which is literally, just like I said, a triggered box. And then you assign the camera there. And that is it. So when the player walks into this zone, it will automatically change to these cameras. And then let's take a quick look at the cameras themselves. Since they are fixed cameras, it's literally the camera and a fixed camera component. And here you can click this if you want, which is finds player by tag. But like I said, it will automatically find the player when you enter the game. But just FYI, make sure that your player, for example here, has the player tag. Doesn't matter about the layer. Just make sure that the player is tagged as player. And then that way the camera will know what to look for. And on each of the cameras too that it creates, it has all the visual effects like your shake, your fade, your zoom, your tint, and all this stuff, as well as a camera effects manager. Now they all have these quick actions. So when you're in play mode, you can click these buttons and actually test the visual effects. And then you can call it in the API using your own code in your game if you want the camera to shake, that kind of thing. But you call this API, it's very easy to do. And again, like I said, it's explained in the manual. So let's take a look at the default camera, which again has all the same effects automatically added. But that's basically it. Not really anything different. I'm going to show you how to, like I said, this is all set up when you use the wizard. So let's take a look at the retro camera system itself. So here it says it's found 3 cameras, but 2 zone cameras. It only cares about the zone cameras because that's what it's going to be looking through. So it actually ignores the player camera. And then here, when you create it using the wizard, it'll automatically create 2 zones and 2 cameras. So you can just duplicate the zones and duplicate the cameras, and then assign the cameras to the zones, and then click refresh camera and zones list, and it will automatically add all of the new zones that you created in your scene in these lists for you. Here's the transition types, such as blink, instant, and smooth that I was talking about when you walk between the rooms, whether you blink, whether it's instant or smooth. It's totally up to you. And to give you an example, if I go to smooth, let me show you this real quick. If I go to smooth, let me disable this and just let the demo take control of that. So if I go into smooth, and let's go to the retro camera. So now smooth is this. As you can see, it pans from camera to camera, so you can have some cool effects as well like that, which I think is pretty neat. Goes through the doorway. Just like that. And then if I go, I think that's all I need to know, but if I go to the retro camera system here again, that's the smooth. Then there's instant, which is just cuts to it. It's a cut. I should have labeled it cut, but it's a cut. And then, of course, you have the path types, multiplier, that kind of thing. All of this stuff can be configured to get the desired reaction or movement of the camera, as well as your zone settings are all right here. Very, very straightforward. So let's move on to the next one that I want to touch base on real quick, which is the 2.5D sample. This has a couple more things you need to do. So here we have the 2.5D camera from the demo that's all set up. But let's take a quick look at the player, because there is one thing you do need to do here. So if we look at the test character on the sample controller, under direction restrictions, we have W and S, which is forwards and backwards, disabled. We just want A and D, which is left to right on the x-axis here. So we have those disabled, and we also have the move relative to camera disabled. So the cameras don't move relative to the player, which would just be stupid, and you would stray from the path that you've set. And then the TCL assign camera, where you can set the look at, target, and all that stuff. This is, like I said, it's automatic when you use the wizard. This automatically sets it up. Just swap out your character for it, and it's that easy. But the one thing I want to show you here is if we take a look at the path camera, this is where a lot of things change in respects to this. So when you create a 2.5D, it'll ask you to create a path asset, which in this case is the demo. It's already done that. So if I select the path asset in the project and I middle mouse click, I can pan. Don't right click when you're in this mode, because you'll add a point. So for example, if I right click here, I'll add a point and I can manipulate it and that kind of thing. I can also Control Z to undo that. But this is where you can configure your path. You can add node at the 00 origin. You can rebuild the path cache. You can delete points, add points, all that kinds of good stuff. So here you've got your nodes. So if I add another one, you'll see that it automatically adds a node there. So this is all done visually, or you can manually do it here. I just recommend using the right mouse button to drag and drop. And then left click to deselect, just so you don't, just so you don't accidentally add anything. So if we look at the path camera here, this is where you can configure this all, your tracking, target, that kind of thing. Here's your occlusion that I told you that I had disabled in the demo, which I do here. You set the layers. So for example, these here are under the TCL blockers. So these will actually block the view for the camera. This could be whatever you want. It could be level geometry, just whatever layer you set here. Make sure that your camera has that set here. So your occlusion layer or your camera knows that those are blockers and you want to avoid them. Respawn handling. This is more or less if you kill your character and you respawn your character into the scene, it'll automatically find your player tag, and then it will smooth transition back to wherever that player has respawned. So just configure that there. And of course, you've got your debug gizmos, that kind of thing. And again, the camera has all of the fade visual settings, all that kinds of stuff. So just to show you that real quick, let's disable this. Let's enter play here real quick, and I want to show you something. So we're going to go to the 2.5D sample here. So I'm going to just come in here so you can get a little closer. So now if I go to the camera, and I go down to the camera shake, you can test. Ooh, that was a big one. Boom. Nice explosion. You can test these, and like I said, you can adjust them. So you've got your fade out, your fade in, flash red. So you can test all of this stuff. And then your camera zoom, which is your field of view, in and out 10%. You can reset that. Your default settings are here. Your camera tilt. All right. You can do whatever you want. Reset that. Flash red, flash white, fade red, fade blue for your moods, and fade out. And then, of course, you can test all of them, which is pretty cool. And you reset. But yeah, that is it for that. So let's get out of there. 2D side scrolling is pretty self-explanatory. You can take a look at the actual demo itself, but it is basically very similar setup. It's just certain restrictions on your controller, such as, you know, the left and right. You don't want forward and backwards, that kind of thing. So yeah, just go through the demo, check it all out. If you do have any questions, or you find that you're stumped and that the manual didn't cover something that you have a problem with, please feel free to reach out to me on my Discord or visit my website at gearworksprod.com and drop a support ticket. That way I can get back to you a lot quicker. And yeah, thanks a lot for your time, and I'll catch you in the next video. Take care.